in 3. Hey folks, welcome back to Noodling on Wires. It's Jason.
Scarif. I'm Darren.
Excellent. And Radar. All here. We're going to be building the Acid Rain Navigator today. This is actually a really small kit. Nice nice slider. And having a bit of a chat about the Performer, which is a cool sequencer that I know very, very little about, but you guys have spent the majority of the day working on. So we'll hear all about that in the coming chat. But Darren, first introduce yourself. Who are you? Why are you here?
I first met Gareth when he came to help me at Synthfest UK, because me and my wife run a small kit company called Rackets in the UK. So I'm electronic engineer and just general synth enthusiast. Really like building things.
Nice. You're in good company.
I noticed today, Darren brought his Weller today.
I'm sorry?
Darren brought his Weller iron.
Oh, I thought you said weather.
No,
Isn't the weather in the UK all grey and the same?
Yeah, pretty much. I wish it was 390 degrees though.
It's cold here. You see, I've got my full cans on and my hoodie with fuzz. It's not. That's why the dog is in my lap, because he doesn't want to be on the floor either. Japan doesn't do heating or wood stoves or anything. They have little kerosene heaters everywhere, which is dangerous in my opinion. But no baseboard, no wood stoves.
Yeah, we got the wood stove going here.
Nice.
Plenty hot.
All right. So I'm going to start working on this, but tell us about the Performer, because it's a sequencer I hear a lot of people asking about, but I've never had one in front of me, so I have no idea.
Darren? Yeah, so I've never actually used one, but I've been jonesing for a Eurorack sequencer for quite some time now, and it ticks a lot of boxes for me. It's just got a sea of buttons, which I'm always drawn to for some reason. It's got this really nice curve mode, which I don't know a hell of a lot about, but I assume it's quite good for creating long meandering sort of modulation source.
Nice.
It also does MIDI to CV on any channel, so you can stick a DIN plug into it, and you can do MIDI to CV on any of the CV and gate channels, which is quite neat. If you're stuck for some MIDI to CV, and it does all the sequencing stuff as well. And because it's open source, you can sort of find all of the build docs quite easily. It's quite nicely laid out. It's quite a complex build because it's surface mount, and you have to source all the parts yourself. There's no kits out there.
Right.
But I'm hoping it's going to be a capable little sequencer. I honestly have never had a go with one.
Oh.
But I like building things, so it's kind of fun.
Those are always the best. You build it, and then you don't actually know what you're going to get at the end of your build session. That's fun. So I'm looking at this, and I like test fit stuff every single time before for the new folks. I test fit just pretty much everything before I actually start soldering, and it looks like the power headers are super close to the metal body of that slider. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the power headers first, but I'm going to do it in a way that makes it flush with the board. So this is really the only document they give you, which is not bad. I mean, it's a very easy to follow little blowout diagram, and all the SMD components are already on the board. So it's one of those where they've done most of the work, the hard work for you, for certainly. But these look just a little tight.
See, that's made me think of the new Thonk LED slider knobs. Have you seen those?
Oh, the little don't they have it there? It's like an add-on for it.
Yeah.
I have not seen those. I only just finally, you asked me a couple shows back now about the Bifaco Jewel.
Banana nuts.
Yeah, the jewels. Yeah. Which I eventually broke down and bought 4 packages of, but it was because they were here and they were half price. It's like, I can buy them right from you. So that wasn't bad. It was only like $20 for 4 bags, which is pretty good. 2,000 yen. So.
Yeah, we've been mucking around today on the modular as well. Darren brought a U-Jove down as well.
I did see that on your Instagram. I'm unbelievably jealous. Did Gareth tell you that the Jove is like one of my shame points? It's one of the few modules that has ever ended up in my junk pile.
Oh no!
I can't figure it. I don't know what's wrong. And in my defense, I haven't actually gone back to revisit it in many, many years. So it may be better now. and I don't know. But
oh no.
But yeah, it was actually really frustrating for me because I love the sound. I ended up buying one of the retail ones just to have it, but I would still like to resuscitate that because it's sitting in that pile of stuff.
Yeah, we've been playing around today, using like pinging the filter, and combining it with the ADSR CV out.
Nice.
Yeah, we're just basically trying around to get like more interesting envelopes.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. You should make some patch notes and put that up.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of something that I've been looking into. You know the NLC module. He's got one called Sly Grogan, and it's from some of the Tech Notes documents, and it actually puts like a warble into well, he calls it a warble, but basically in the release stage of the envelope, there's a modulation blip. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah, it's like a damped filter on the release, so you get like this like a sine wave modulation on the release, like Gareth said.
Nice. Is it random, or is it predictable, repeatable?
No, it's predictable. And we were basically discussing how we could achieve similar results with the modules that I've got here. And Darren suggested pinging a filter and then combining that with a CV mixer, which essentially I've got anyway on my VCA.
Yep.
So basically, we got some pretty good results once we dialed it in.
Nice.
Just basically getting the filter to the cusp, when it's just about to self-oscillate. With the resonance, like right at that sweet spot and the cutoff at the, just before you kind of start to hear it, and then pinging it with a gate, the same gate we were using for the envelope anyway, and it was we're getting pretty good results.
Yeah, it turned out pretty well actually. Nice. Yeah, get some interesting sounds.
That's something everybody will have to try. You ever actually fold the gate into the audio path?
No.
I started playing with that to see what I could get, just like clicks and blips and things. That's part of like the Unicorn Boom circuit actually. That's that click.
What, to get the attack at the beginning of the kick?
when you want that click at the very beginning, that's what that is.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's sort of a classic Simpsons technique, isn't it? They use it in the 303 and things.
That's why I was asking. There we go. A little better, a lot flush. And I can just push this down. And
I've actually had like a few kind of like what I'd call physical connection.
Nice.
Like with the Bafako builds, I find some of those quite tight.
Puppy one step down. Oh, excuse you. Oof. All right, now I can move.
You've been soldering with a hand.
Yeah, always. Oh, you meant the dog.
Yeah, I meant the dog. Yeah.
Yeah, we basically had a pretty full day of soldering. We're still going, really.
Taking a break to talk to us.
Yeah.
Basically, we're hoping to get. I mean, like, the great thing is my wife's away, so we're basically just like living the dream,
Yeah.
Your own little synth camp.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
Excellent.
Pretty much, yeah. The dining room table has been taken over.
One of those days. Yeah, I used to do that a lot because my wife flies for an airline, and so she'll leave on an international trip for like a week, and I would always take over the kitchen counter or whatever I was doing, and then have to clean it all up at the end of the week, which was a nightmare.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So.
Make
sure you have time to clean up.
I know. We keep using like all the glasses, all the cups, and then basically just getting out new ones. That's what you do, isn't it?
Of course, yeah.
Thing is, like when you're a teenager and that, you go out drinking, and now we're just staying soldering. I don't know what's wrong with us.
Hey, I went out last night. It's a super rare event.
That's true.
Oh. Happened there. Oh, that's me. I'm trying to figure out what's the white thing behind me. Instruction
What is this thing?
Instruction sheet. There you go.
Yeah, we've got Darren brought around. We've got Monsoons, which we haven't had a chance to play with yet. U-Jove, which you mentioned, and the Westlicht Performer. It's caused another bit of a rack shuffle up, but it's good. I was basically saying about especially with DIY, how you can end up with what seem to be but less functional modules, but it forces you to learn like more interesting techniques, like for example, like pinging a filter, which I know a lot of people know how to do, but some of these features are available in more complicated, like shop bought modules as part of the firmware or function of the modules. Whereas with the DIY, you end up with quite a lot more. You can end up with a lot more basic modules, but that's a good thing.
Yeah, as far as shuffling stuff around. I mean, do you feel that you're constrained more space wise? I mean, I'm not. I'm not agnostic, monogamous with DIY. Yeah. It doesn't bother me in the least. I mean, I buy for form factor just as often as function, but you must use a lot of HP just to get some simple features sometimes.
Yeah, you do, and that is a compromise. But as you know, we're kind of doing more SMD builds. But I think the reality is a lot of the more complicated modules. I know there's a lot of clones out which use SMD. However, the majority of the modules that I build, they're either pre-soldered. A lot of the SMD stuff comes pre-soldered these days, anyway.
Right. Case in point.
I know with patching. Yeah. I know a lot of the guys. I mean, there's definitely been an increase in modules that I've seen that are coming pre-soldered SMD, and you just do the control board and the knobs, etc. I guess that's a cost thing, and also
SMD is hard.
Yeah,
SMD can be hard, and it can be scary.
Don't scare people off. That's part of the charm. I truly believe that if you want to do it, you can. Like I said, I went hot air a while ago, and that was lovely. But of course, you can blow your components all over the room. And then I built a reflow oven, so that it's also a possibility. If you truly want to do it, go and practice it. Do it. There are lots of techniques for using a standard iron. There's lots of techniques for using other tools, whether hot air or an oven. Even laser is an option. It's very expensive, but those are tools that you use professionally to manufacture PCBs. But it absolutely can be done. Lots of people do it, and if you have even a remotely steady hand or a table to steady on, you can give it a shot. None of these packages are too dangerous, right? I mean, there's some 0603 passives and a T-SUP. It's not too bad. I was telling you, the electrolytics are the ones I hate the most because the pins are underneath.
Yeah, right.
I enjoy those. I mean, I said it before.
You're a masochist.
I like the challenge.
Sure.
It's nothing that can't be solved with drenching it in flux.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
that'll agree with. So flux is your friend. So these things, I want to stop for a second because these things, the pots have a little nub for mounting. But the majority of Euro faceplates don't have a place for this milled into the faceplate. So you snip these off if you see them most of the time.
I can't believe you're using your special.
These are the old ones.
Yeah,
I have a new set.
So I've blunted plenty of snips with those. I used to use the really cheap. I don't know if you remember, like last year, I did my International Side Cutters Day.
Yep.
On Instagram. Yep. Well, I've got like a growing pile of ones which used to be my good ones. But the thing is, no matter how disciplined I am, I always end up going, I'll just use my new ones.
Yep. And that's why they end up in the pile.
Yeah, I know. It was interesting to do that, though, because you really got to see like a wide selection of side cutters.
Yeah, that was neat. You had a lot of traffic on that particular thread, and I was kind of disappointed because I was out of country at the time. I couldn't post mine.
Yeah, I think you messaged me actually, because you were like keen to do it.
Well, I like to
But
show off as much as the next guy. Look what I
Yeah.
got.
I know Darren's actually got these one. I mean, when Darren does his side cutting, he does it so close to the board, it almost makes my eyes hurt. Because like I've got this thing about leaving a little bit, but Darren's a hardcore.
No, I like it.
Yeah, no,
tidy.
it should be absolutely flush, and I think I showed you that before as well, where I have these 45-degree angle ones, but they literally are straight across the board, so yeah, I can take Q-tips and clean.
Yeah.
Very convenient.
Yeah, we had a bit of a meltdown today because we were looking through the Performer bomb, and Darren basically had to look up the data sheets. Do you know what it's like? I've done it myself. When you when you go to buy something, and maybe the exact number isn't available, but I think he did it so long ago that basically probably didn't remember what the decision was.
Which ones you decided to slot in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Into the data sheet, looking at the differences, noise floor, all about the noise floor, because the DAC they use is a really good. It's in the Performer DAC. It's some really expensive one, isn't it?
Yeah, some crazy high performance DAC. It's an 8-channel DAC, and I think if you buy them in sort of low quantities, they're about £20 each, which is insane.
Who makes that one?
It's TI.
Yeah, that's not the same one
Yeah.
in the Ornament and Crime, because I remember those being very, very expensive. That's like the most expensive
I think it
part.
might be the same.
16-bit. It's very, very good.
Yeah, it's a really, really nice part. I think it's got an internal voltage reference and stuff. It's really nice.
Sounds like. But the TI stuff is generally pretty good. I don't mind buying those.
But then we're having a meltdown because the op amp that we've ended up with has got a very slightly higher noise floor, and Darren was panicking, making me panic. We're all panicking.
You think it's going to cause
Yeah.
that much of an issue? I mean, where is it? Where is it in the circuit?
I think I'm not sure. I need to look at where it is in the circuit. I was going to say it's on the output of the DAC, but I think the DAC has got a built-in buffer, so it might not be. I'm honestly not sure where it is. It might actually be on the input because there's some input CV controls on the Performer, so it might well be that. I think it'll probably be okay. It was something stupid, like instead of being 7 nanovolts per root hertz, it was 14 nanovolts per root hertz noise. So I don't think you're really going to notice.
Yeah, what does that come out to in actual sense?
In actual numbers,
one
I'm
volt
not-
per octave.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be so small. It's crazy.
I think I worked it out. Somewhere in my notebook, I have that all listed out, like exactly what 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 24-bit gets you, as far as how many cents. Yeah. So I wanted to have a module that I could absolutely complete in one show, and yeah, that's it. That's all it is. You solder on the slider, the pot, and 4 jacks, and of course I would test this and clean it up. But that is essentially it. I can plug this in and test right now to see what I get. But nice easy build. What attracted me to this, and what actually made someone want to buy mine when I was in Tokyo, is the niceness of this slider. Whatever this part is, and I can't seem to find a number on it anywhere, but it is a really, really top end slider part. So cheers to Acid Rain for not skimping on the hardware, the tactile hardware.
Nice.
Acid Rain being the same folks that make that chainsaw, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is a fantastic toy.
I think you should cut to you playing Jump on it now. Do it.
Okay. Thanks for that.
Had to be done.
Of course. No, I was at a club last night, and I'm still hearing that sound everywhere, even in contemporary stuff. You know, they've melded out a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not quite the leads anymore. They have pads with super saw and everything else going on. It's like you guys just never forgot.
It is a classic, isn't it? So what else have you got lined up after this one?
Well, like I said, I was trying to. I have the my Preen FM, which is not a DIY, but the display died. An OLED display, and it's an older OLED, so it doesn't really surprise me too much. But of course, the modules are difficult to find and very expensive, so I'm trying to find an alternate display module, and it really is just this. It's a pre-made subassembly part. You can actually, I don't know if you can see it or not. It actually still has you can see the text. It's burned in, so it's a really old OLED. Which I guess I'll just chuck in the bin. But I have two potentials, one of which looks okay, but the pins on it, I have to desolder these the one pitch headers because they're actually too thick for the little machine header pins that they have on the Preen. And the other one, it's slightly different model. It doesn't have any pins on it, but I desoldered something on this very, very badly. Or somebody did. I'm not even sure it was me, but even one of these pads is just loose. So I don't hold out hope that this is actually going to function. But I have two. But I have two OLEDs that I'll be able to try here in short order. And then of course I still have the two the Bifaco MIDI CV2 MIDI, and then the instrument interface that I need to build right away because those are things that I want. And then, of course, all the rest of the customary backlog is all still here. I rescued an additional ornament in crime. It seemed like it was.
Nice.
Seems like the display had a little bit of a glitch in it, and it was always bothering me that it wouldn't. I couldn't clean it up. I tried different displays. I tried decoupling caps, changing out stuff. I tried all sorts of things, and couldn't figure out why. Just at the very end of the display had just a line of garbage there. And so what I ended up doing is changing out the teensy, and that freaked me out because it shouldn't be the teensy. The teensy is a pretty robust and tested thing, but lo and behold, changing out the teensy made it function perfectly well.
No way.
So that's the thing, folks. If you have an ornament in crime and the display is acting a little wonky, don't discount the teensy as being perfectly fine because it may not be.
It's a nightmare. You wouldn't expect that at all.
No, I didn't. I just for laughs, I figured I'd change it out, and it immediately fixed the problem. Junk teensy.
Ta-da.
Okay, so literally, slider, nice, and I mean it takes a good amount of force to move that around, and then the knob, and that'll give you both attenuation and it's normal to 5, so you can literally just bring up something.
Here's something interesting.
5 or normal
have
to
you
10?
ever
Actually, I'm not sure.
Have you ever used you know when you can get all these pot cleaners, you know, like the spray, aerosol
I know
spray.
of them. It's got a little bit of oil or something in it, right?
Well, that's the thing. That's what I was going to say. Like if you've ever I've had an old mixer and you kind of get crackly pots on it, and I clean them out with some of that spray, but it always kind of ends up being too loose afterwards because I think you lose some of that kind of manufactured.
Yeah, so they put damping grease in those.
So it says
there's actually damping grease in them. Yeah.
Oil.
So is that damping grease? Because what I was worried about, I've often wondered about putting some grease back in, but then I've been concerned about the electrical conductivity of that grease.
Yeah, so it's just thick silicone grease.
Is that all it is?
Yeah.
So you could actually put that back in yourself, is that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think we should probably try that at some point, and I will await the results.
Well, that's yeah. Well, that's the thing is, you know what it's like. I've got all the most frequently used knobs always end up being crackly.
Oh, that's interesting. So usually it's the ones I don't touch.
Oh, well, I think it's just everyone I touch.
I think that's a different problem.
No comments.
Yeah. Well, I've got some crackle in my system, and I'm not sure where exactly it's coming from, whether it's least frequently or most frequently, but it just seems to be a lot of them. Not in my Euro rack. Well, actually, right in the end mixer. You notice it there. I don't.
Well, Euro stuff is generally pretty new. I mean, I wouldn't expect that.
There's ST Mix, Befaco. I don't know what pots they use, but they don't. They're not the same as the ones in the rest of my kit. You know, Befaco pots do not seem to be the same type as ones in, you know, most kits. They've got their own type of pots.
I think they use Songhui 12 mils, which is sort of like non-standard as far as the rest of the industry is concerned. But Songhui seems to make quite a lot of them. I'm not sure what they're in market they're intended for, but they work quite well on the Befaco stuff, I think.
Yeah, I've noticed a bit of crackle in mine.
Yeah. So it depends on the potentiometer configuration. If you set it up badly and there's a lot of DC bias going for a potentiometer like that, you can sort of imagine the contact skipping as you're running it, as you're turning it, and that can sometimes turn to bounce and crackle and things like that. Yeah. So it might just be that they're poor quality pots with bad contacts, or it might just be they're not consistently manufactured, or it might be that all the damping grease has come out. Or...
Yeah, it's strange though, because like, you know, like most kits, most pots I use are alphas. I use Song.
Yeah, it's almost exclusively on my side as well.
Yeah, and I don't have any problem with alphas. This is what I've noticed, is that an alpha, where there's sealed units as well, but the ones that the Befaco use, they seem to almost be like semi-open construction. And I'm not sure, but they're kind of a silvery colour as well. They're not quite, you know, the same. I'm not saying that they're bad, but what I'm saying is that they seem different, really. Oh, there you go.
Nice.
Phaser flange.
Having trouble matching.
Oh, yeah.
I just haven't been able to get it to do. I mean, every once in a while I get a pair that starts to do that phasing thing that we all want, and the effect is so weak. It doesn't quite get there, so I'm not sure. And I'm sure it's my fault. But...
How are you matching them?
There's a simple circuit in the end of the build doc that shows how to do it. All the displays from that Ornament and Crime that I rescued. Too many things. Oh, there's something else I can build.
There you go, just a wave.
I think I can do this. Actually, I have no build doc for this at all. I have to open the kit and find out what it is. Or we could start this.
What is that?
The seeds.
I'm teasing again. What say you, gents?
I think you should start seeds,
okay.
And then.
Well, considering I don't have the firmware for a wave either, it makes no point to. He has to send it to me.
I bought that camera, so I will be able to do some builds soon. But the thing is, to be honest, it's a bit. I don't think it's going to be up to much. I need to get my HDMI interface and proper lens. It will be coming soon.
No, the photos you posted were looking fantastic. So.
Yeah, but that's with Darren's microscope.
Oh, okay. I thought that was your new one.
No. That's Darren's fancy microscope.
Sorry.
No, no worries.
Yeah.
I thought he got a good toy. So yours was slightly more expensive then.
I actually want to throw mine away now.
Well, mine was a gift, and I don't want to throw it away because of that. But it simply doesn't function anymore, so I should just let it go and continue on. Unfortunately, I have to buy a white one, no matter what I do, because I don't ever want them to know that it died and I replaced it. The things you think about. Okay, so there's a hardware bag and resistors, diodes, and caps. Pretty standard stuff. All separated. I don't have a build doc for this either. I have to look that up on the phone. So once that...
I've never heard of seeds.
It's only just come out.
Oh.
He's got kit number 5.
Is it really? How do you know that?
You told me last time.
Oh, did I? I have no idea. I don't remember saying that.
Well, that's what I told Jan.
That might be your imagination, because I don't remember. I have no idea what number this is. Gareth is hallucinating again.
Yeah, that's what happens.
I like the artwork on the front panel. It looks quite subtle.
It is really, really nice. Those are traces.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But also, look at you see those little
cool, I
holes.
like that. Yeah.
Well, those little holes. There's there's an LED that shines through
well,
it.
Nice.
The screen.
Yeah, that's the
Seven
display.
segment.
Yeah, that sits behind it.
That's
Nice.
too cool, isn't it?
So it sits behind
That's a
here.
well good
And it's
idea.
really nice.
I love that stuff. I design it. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, he did an
'Cause I
amazing
designed a
job
few
with this. I
front
can't wait
panels.
to set it up. I mean, it looked cute, but it's the algorithms that he has in there that really sold me. He had me at about 5, and he kept going and going. He's doing his whole sales pitch. I was like, and I let him finish, and then I said, you had me at 5. Just give me one.
Just give it to me.
Yeah, because Darren's made a few front panels. He did the one for Beehive,
Mm-hmm.
you know, for the Platts.
U-Plats, isn't it?
Yeah, U-Plats. Did a Beehive for that. He did the U-Jove one, and a Monsoon as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always cool to have something a bit different as well.
Yeah,
Wants to do the
Go ahead.
the Westlicht Performer because there's a big debacle about the width of the panel.
Oh.
There's basically a 2mm panel,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's a 1.6mm panel. And if you've got the 2mm panel, although it looks better, basically it's too thick for the buttons to push through.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, that's
Which is great fun.
unfortunate.
Which we're going to find out later.
Yeah.
Oh, which
Because
which one do you have?
money on the 2mm.
We've got one of each.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. That'll be a
But-
thing. I mean, can't you just move your buttons up a bit? I mean, it's
They sort of snap on to tack switches, so you could when you're soldering them in, but they might not be level, and that would
Take,
really grow my
take a
gear.
nylon washer and slot it underneath.
That's a good idea. That's a solid idea.
I've got some nylon washers.
I'll be stealing those.
Okay, that's cool as well.
Nice.
So that's problem solving at its best. All you need is an internet connection.
Oh yeah, just we
And
just
Jason
need
on
to
the podcast.
talk more often. So many of us operate, and I learn things from Gareth and everybody every single time. So it's just we got to talk more. So continue to talk.
That's what it's all about, really. It's like the seeds instructions.
Yes.
Looks like a big letter to
Well,
me.
I found the firmware, but that's the assembled version. I need the kit version. I can't seem to find it.
Maybe they assume that you know how to build it.
I think they do.
Let's see.
Switch over to
No, see,
just
it's
the
one of
wave.
those lovely boards that actually has
Everything written on it.
everything's nicely numbered.
No,
No values. So yeah, I don't
know.
think so.
I'm a big fan of values on boards.
Yep, I would
As
be as
well.
well. Oh, and the mic, I actually went back and I was going to buy that as well because by then I had sold a few modules of my own. I made a few bucks.
Oh yeah.
And it
Was
was
it gone?
gone. So I was
Oh,
disappointed. Disappointed. But that is.
I know that was a pretty cool thing.
It's really neat. I told you about the phone, right? Here we go, build manual 1.2.
Oh yeah.
So for those that don't know, my grandfather gifted me when I was very young an old telephone, and it was made of wood. It was a little wood
Nice.
box with microphone and little handset and everything else. The one earpiece, right? So it was an old telephone, and me being an 8-year-old boy, I tore that thing to shreds. And I thought it was really interesting. Probably folds itself into the narrative of why I like electronics and computer stuff somewhere along the line. But I'm just devastated that I don't have that thing now because it would be so much fun to play with. The things you could do with a really, really old telephone. And you go on eBay or Yahoo Auction or whatever, and you look around for that stuff, and it's ungodly expensive because I think everybody's grandfather did the same thing. Any experiences like that? What did you really destroy when you were young? You regret now?
Well, It's not really music related, but my dad bought me a really nice, a set of a compass. You know, when you get the kind of like the drawing set with a compass and all the kind of technical drawing kind of stuff. And because it was the 90s, early 90s, when he gave it to me, I decided to, using Tipex, makes me feel kind of sick, right? I drew a big acid face on the front. Terrible.
Nice.
Do you know what I mean? Just like you look back and you just go, why? Why would you do that? You know, it's terrible.
Things that
Really
we
bad.
do. Yeah.
But nothing like too musical.
There you go.
I've always respected musical equipment. Just didn't want to do technical drawing by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So yeah, there's all the charts. Okay, so this is actually pretty easy to understand. There aren't that many components, so this shouldn't take that long. But you do need to refer to the build docs to figure out which one's which.
Nice.
It's always worth reading it all the way through as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Is I got to check and make sure.
With the Zlob modular VCA, I think when you switch between different brands, they've got completely different mindsets when it comes to their build guides and instructions. And basically, I think, you know, sometimes you can get into this kind of false sense of confidence, can't you? That I know how to follow a build guide. And the Zlob modular one had asterisks by certain values. And if I'd read the guide, I would have understood that they meant something. But I wasn't even looking for asterisks. And it turned out that they were down to LED brightness, and it was a variable. So I ended up, you know, when you kind of make a series of mistakes and you get in too deep, and that ended up going really bad.
You made something very bright.
Well, it was more just the fact that I'd made some mistakes. I then tried to repair them. I was very hungover, and basically the VCA kind of didn't really work out very well. I had to send it to my friend to fix it.
Yeah, the early stories are fun.
Yeah.
No, don't let that stop you.
I had to send my quadrature function generator to Darren to fix.
Yeah, ended up just being a blown up part, didn't it? Pretty much. And the LEDs were bust as well.
Yeah, it's probably my fault.
Did you plug it in backwards, or did you solder everything backwards?
No, well, to be fair, the first time I soldered it, I had some dodgy Tadar sockets, you know, the socket holders. And I think that those socket holders may have... I ended up soldering it into the socket holders, which is horrible to do. But I didn't want to... It was one of those decisions. I didn't want to remove the socket holders and put new ones in because it was a funny build, because everything was kind of quite close together in the middle. I thought, I'll just solder them into the socket holders. That was a bad idea. And then so I decided to fix that, and I think maybe during that process I ruined everything.
Sure. Understood.
Probably that. Yeah.
So long as you learned.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I learn?
You learned how to post it to me, didn't you?
I learned how to post it to Darren.
You learned it's going to cost you some money.
Cost me something.
Yeah.
Pride.
What's that?
Yeah, pride.
Yeah.
You never started with that.
No.
You had asked previously. I kept this out because I wanted to show off. I built this ages ago. It's for the PIC chips. It's a programmer.
Cool.
Because I was doing rapid manufacturing, so this would allow me to program. You put the programmer on and then just ziff the chips in, and program them off. They're all dual inline package, full size. But this is two different models of PIC that you can throw in here, and it's actually pretty compatible with a lot, so it makes things nice. But the actual PIC programmer is just a red. The Picket 3 is just a red device that plugs in here, and pin 1 on that side. So the fun things that you build when you need something immediately.
Do you still use it?
Not really. No, I've moved on to the really small pitch pin packages, tiny stuff.
Yeah, you don't often see the big ones.
I have an entire drawer
the,
here if you'd like to see them, but I'm not using them anymore. Would you? I mean, if you want them, I'll send them to you.
I think the glitch drum uses a big one, doesn't it?
I think it's that mega, though, isn't it? but it is massive.
Yeah, it's a massive. Oh, is it Amiga? Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I mean, they're basically the same company now, aren't they? Pick and Microchip.
Are they? I always thought they were
Pick and Microchip?
fighting, yeah.
No, wait, Pick and Microchip is... Microchip creates picks. That's a stupid thing
Yes.
to say. But Atmel and Microchip are now the same company, or Microchip own Atmel.
Oh, wow,
now.
I did not know that, but that makes sense
Yeah.
in some strange way.
It's really annoying because I used to love Atmel datasheets and hate Microchip datasheets. And I had a datasheet which I'd been using professionally at work for a while. And Microchip decided to go through an Atmel datasheet and microchipify it. So they went through and changed a load of styling and stuff, and I just hated it. Hated it. So I had to go through my hard drive and find an old Atmel datasheet I could live with.
You can't read it, and it's not that bad. I don't know. I never had too much issue, but I started with Microchip. Believe it or not, I kind of missed the whole Arduino revolution. I think that plays into my not really drinking the Kool-Aid as far as all the Arduino stuff, you know. But I never had a problem with it. What I did have a problem with is I kind of joined in right when they were trying to move from the early MPLAB like 8 into version X, and that was just a nightmare because it wasn't ready for prime time. It eventually came around. I mean, their vision for it was great, but it took years.
Yeah, I did my first STM today.
Yeah.
Can't believe I haven't. It was kind of fun. Had to use the microscope, but it was, my first It was all done by hand, obviously, not for air or anything.
How did you do it?
Following Darren's
No, I mean,
instructions.
you did drag though.
Yeah, it was dragged.
Okay.
With a flat, quite a flat iron, and it was. I mean, it was one of those things where I was listening very carefully to what Darren was saying, kind of job. I probably would have. It probably would have been a bit more heavy duty braid and swearing if it was on my own. But it was nice to have. I think for your first one, it's nice to have experienced person to help you.
Sure.
Because I think with SMD, I don't mind doing most stuff, but those fine legs do kind of worry me a little bit. You can easily put those out of shape.
It's a lot easy. It's easier to bend them out of shape, and it's easy to get bridges that you can't see. They're underneath. You just won't get there. Which is one of the reasons why I really don't like putting a whole lot of solder on stuff. I mean, when people say, "Oh, just flood it in there," it's like, not really. I don't like that.
Yeah, I agree. Strongly agree.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
I've had the conversation go both ways, so I don't know what I'm going to get.
No, totally. I mean, I think a lot of people say that because, it's flux cord solder. So if they're struggling with a solder joint, you just stick a bit more solder on. It's got flux in it. That's what's making it easy.
Yeah.
It's not the solder, it's the extra flux they're putting in unknowingly. So as long as you've got tons of flux, generally you're okay.
I like him.
I found that. I think the tacky flux as well, because you're kind of basically creating an environment around the solder, around the joint.
Yeah, you create an air barrier so it doesn't
bubble,
oxidize as fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot better than what I was having to do with the liquid was just create a pool of liquid flux, so that every time, and actually I think the fumes that you get off the liquid flux are a lot worse than the tacky stuff as well.
It just evaporates so fast.
Yeah, it does. I mean, just in normal atmosphere, normal room temp, it's already starting to evaporate. But the tacky stuff is just so much nicer. I know you get a bit of residue afterwards, but I think on the whole, it was a lot better experience for me.
Yeah, I sort of started off with liquid flux and I've moved towards tacky stuff just because the liquid stuff just doesn't hang around long enough to do its job properly in my opinion. But
how long do you leave your iron on the board? This is a question from last show as well. Don't
seconds.
Seconds? How many?
2 or 3.
Okay.
Maybe 1.
Yeah,
depending.
there you go.
Yeah. Last show we were exploring the fact that, in some Facebook groups, etc., you get people trying to say, try and give you a definite amount of time.
I know, it varies.
Yeah, it varies by component, and I mean some of the really big stuff with on ground plane, etc., is going to be very different. But someone said what was it, 7 seconds in all cases. Like that's
Yeah,
as
they do.
many. You're gonna blow stuff up.
Nice.
Okay.
Lots of black corners on their circuit boards then.
Pardon?
So lots of little black corners on their boards.
Yeah,
then.
absolutely. It's going to look like that display. Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's why I turned everything off. Turned off the iron a while ago when we started opening kits, and I forgot. Why isn't this working? So we'll sit there and wait for that for a second. I'll have a cup of coffee.
A really mean trick that I've often played on colleagues at work is to find a gauge of tinned copper wire that's very, very close to the gauge of solder that we use, and then wind a little bit around the spool, and then sit there and they check the soldering iron 50 times to see if it's hot. It's fucking hilarious. Excuse my language. It is hilarious.
That reminds me of one we do at work. Well, we have done. I have done it before, a long time ago, years ago. When you like you get the phone off, you unplug the phone from the handset, and then you put a little tiny bit of like paper in there, just over one of the pins, so they can hear, but they can't talk. And you just
ensues, yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Not
Can
quite
you
as
hear me
cool
now? We already get enough of that.
Mind you, we spend the whole beginning of the podcast doing that, don't we?
Wow. That's I think a lot of that just comes down to computers being uncooperative.
So that little section on the back, is that for the Teensy, is it?
Yeah, it's not, remember we talked about this. It's not a Teensy, it actually is like a Nano or something.
Yep.
Arduino Nano, yeah.
That one, but it's a 328, so pretty standard. There's so many of those little digital somethings these days. I'm actually just measuring all the resistors, but I wanted to do this one right away because it doesn't have anything to write on.
Oh, do you mean it has firmware on it already?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
This particular resistor I wanted to solder in place right away because there's nothing. Generally I write on the tab.
Right.
I always reconfirm stuff. I have found mismarked resistors in the past. The color bands were completely wrong. So I check them before we actually start assembly. But this one has nothing to write on, so I just slot it in. And I will show you. Nice clean. Those are the flush cuts.
That is nice. Yeah. I approve.
There you go. But it's this that I like. I mean, you can do this, and there's no fuzz. It doesn't catch. But then of course you have to do everything. So you have your pin sockets and everything else that all need to be cleaned off as well. So I think those are probably the worst offenders.
We were looking today at the new, the new frequency central delay. Have you seen that?
No.
It's called stasis leak.
Okay.
And this looks quite interesting actually. Darren was looking at it with me, and he's using like is it a Beltron? Like you get the bricks in the reverb bricks. It's that same company. They make. So, can you tell us a bit about it?
Oh, they make little digital delay modules and reverb, digital reverb modules. So some of I'm trying to think of a Europe manufacturer that uses them. I think Bafako uses they're little Belton Accu Bell reverb modules, but they've brought out a new one that does chorusing and delay mode, and it's got one other, but I can't remember what it is now. Chorus delay.
Reverb, you said?
Yeah, chorus delay and reverb. It's DSP based rather than PT 2399 based, which is sort of a bucket grade. But it looks quite interesting actually. The little modules themselves, I think they're selling for about $20 or something like that, which is pretty cool. But once you work that into a retail price for a Eurorack module kit, it's going to be at least 80 quid for a decent Eurorack delay kit, which is okay.
That's certainly not bad. I ended up building the Ginkosynthese one a while back. Their DSP. I had no end of trouble with that because the actual subassembly, which is the real delay circuit, they sent me was massively defective. So I was actually just toning out looking all the pins on the oscilloscope, and I found the one that was just completely off the rails, and sent them the scope data, and they said, yeah, just send that back to us.
Oh, come on.
So, it was just one of those things. I think it would have shown up in obvious testing, but audio still passed through, but it was like single phase rectified. so it was just
nice.
wacky. It was just absolutely wrong. So what I ended up getting, they ended up immediately shipped me 2 new ones to try, and then I ended up bringing it back and handing it to them at Super Booth, because I didn't really need the useless ones, and I'm sure it's an expensive subassembly. If you've ever seen it, it's a small board, about, I want to say 4 centimeters square, but it is supremely dense. Really, really dense SMD components, and I don't know if they can fix it, reflash it, whatever it needs, but I know it's an expensive subassembly. The thing is, I always coat everything, conformal coating, and I had done that on one of them, one of the ones that I returned, and it's a urethane, so I don't think they're going to get through, and I don't think that one's going to be repaired. Sorry.
No, that's a bin job.
What am I looking at? 3.5.
I've never used conformal coating much, actually.
Yeah, I had issues. In fact, I had another prop to show. So I used to live a number of years in Hawaii, right? People know that generally. And this is a screwdriver I bought there. Came from Home Depot. It was a chain in the United States, home stores. Probably about a decade ago. Not even. A number of years, though, for at least 5 years. But it's not bad. It's in reasonable shape. And I bought this one, but I brought this one here with me. So it's been in Japan. This one has been in Hawaii, just in the air.
Yeah.
And you can see the difference.
That's rusted up pretty bad.
The difference. And this is I bought them at the same time, same store. This one's obviously had a little bit of sun on it, but it's still in much better shape. And this is just rusted to crap. And that's all just salt in the air, even at 1,000 feet. We were living up at 1,000 feet, and so it's not like you're living right by the ocean or anything. So I've seen stuff degrade so much, things just fall apart, rubber just disintegrates. So I coat everything once I test it.
How does that work with moving parts, or do you just not spray the moving parts?
You stay away from that.
You just brush it off.
Yeah, I've moved from the urethane to the silicone, just because it's a little easier to work with. It's a little thinner. It's a little more forgiving. Because when you want to make something pretty, for example, I don't have anything immediately within reach that I've actually coated.
Okay.
But once I test stuff, I'll finally leave it in the rack, burn in for a month or so, and then I'll coat it.
Nice.
But generally speaking, I don't think you need to do it. But I also read a weird NASA article about tin whiskers. You familiar with that phenomenon?
Yeah.
So I read that, and that put the fear of God into me as well. It's like, you know what? I just don't want this stuff, so I'm gonna coat absolutely everything I make. Or actually, I've gone back and done other manufacturers' stuff too. Like I got a nice old, was it the Dope for SEM clone, and that came in, and it was actually disgusting. The board was not clean and by any stretch, and I don't know if it was because someone had tried to repair it or what, but it was just not. It worked perfectly fine. So I cleaned the hell out of it and coated it after I had repaired everything. But yeah, stay away from the mechanical components like the small buttons on that Nano. These it'll wick underneath the button, and then you won't be able to use it anymore. You'll be trying to scrape off enough of the pins to manually touch it with a jumper with a wire or something, which would be really, really, really bad. So yeah, need to be careful of that stuff. But just the general electronic components, you definitely want to cover.
Cool.
All right, gents. So what else is coming up? Any new events? Anything fun?
I think it's getting towards that time of year, isn't it, where It's a bit of a wind down.
Going into holiday. Yeah, that was my next question. Is what do you want for Christmas?
Well, there are a few little bits and bobs I've got my eye on. I'm basically quite where I've got the Westlicht and hopefully a Ujo finish by the end of this weekend. That'll give me plenty to work on. I've been thinking about and some more NLC stuff for Christmas. I think next year is going to be a big year for me. I'm thinning down, and I think that based on this year's DIY antics, next year I'm going to be pushing for my other case. I'm basically looking to sell everything I've got and then just start a new case again next year.
Wow.
Go hardcore.
All right. Still all DIY though.
Yeah, sure. Maybe get more into the mutable clones. Maybe make a case full of mutable clones. Who knows?
Okay. Well, you know my opinion on that, but I won't judge you.
It's just for the experience,
sure.
really.
Yeah, no, if it's just for you, that's fine.
I'm not selling them.
Okay.
I may sell them in the future when I've had use of them, but I'm not
making them to sell. Right? That's.
No.
Okay.
I'm making them because it's basically with the mutable stuff. You're looking at a STM. You're looking at programming. You've got all the aspects. It's a holistic experience, and I feel like if you've made a wide range of those kind of style of modules, then you can pretty much mentally you can tackle anything.
Right.
That's important to me. Have the mental. What are you up
Instagram.
to? All right.
So someone just followed, and it's like, okay, I will acknowledge that. Actually, I should say.
Yeah.
Yep. Terry Laser Eyes, thank you for follow. Appreciate it.
I've seen Terry Laser Eyes. Is it like a cat with firing lasers at?
Strong name.
Is it a cat?
Now you're going to make me open the
at?
app and actually look it up. Ooh, I'm stuck into thing. Yes, cat with laser eyes. Correct.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Stupid noises made with a robot table. Yes. Okay, follow back.
You got to give a shout out to Terry Laser Eyes in this show now.
Absolutely.
Like actually in the
in
the
the little
text.
description. Yeah, absolutely.
Why not? Yeah.
Excellent. That's good. And I've captured that as well. I have the little icon. We'll throw that up. Excellent. Yeah, folks. If you like Synth Chat and you're out there soldering all by yourself, stick with us and subscribe, hit the little notification bell. I guess that's what people are saying now on YouTube. I don't do a whole lot of social. I'm the most anti-social computer guy you're ever going to meet. But I guess that's the way YouTube's working these days. Is you have to hit the bell in order for them to tell you if the video. I thought subscribing got you that, but I guess not.
No, you got to smash that like button. That's what they all say, isn't it? That's what they all say. Honestly, my kids are watching it all the
break
time.
your display, and then you can't like anything else.
Yeah. Smash that like button. Hit the bell to something.
Awful.
Yeah,
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah, I don't like that. Whatever.
There you go.
That's
What is that?
That's a fine looking knob.
big knob.
That is a big knob.
Oh, you're talking about
Jason gets big.
you're talking about the metal.
Yeah.
I thought we were Canadian all of a
Jason
sudden.
Is that? What is that module?
It's not. This is. I got a, and it's actually the panel from the wave plane, but it didn't fit my rails. And remember, I went back to Paula and we were talking about spacing and different types of rails and such. And so she ended up manufacturing me a whole nother plate, which I think is the standard one now because it wouldn't. The way they were manufactured, they wouldn't fit inside the tip-top rails, which are pretty popular in the U.S. I don't know about you guys. But so now I have an extra faceplate, and so I'm using it to mount and test.
Wow, that's serious.
Polish.
That is
nice.
serious.
It's a gorgeous aluminum panel, and I don't have to make one.
When's your module coming out, Jason?
Next year.
What's
I
the
have
first
a few.
one?
The first one is just a simple reset switch. It's okay. Nothing outlandish. The second one's good. The second one's going to be much more interesting. But I will definitely send you kits.
Cool. Look forward to it.
Actually, have to wonder if you're going to be able to do it. You're going to pick up your
What are you saying?
SMD skills. I'm saying that the match transistor part that I've selected is microscopic.
Oh. Don't have to match it myself, though, do I?
No, they come as a matched pair in package, which is good. It's a 6-pin matched set. And they're expensive because of it. I think they basically go through all of them and test them all themselves, the manufacturer does. And then the ones that meet their matched criteria, which I'm still trying to figure out, but I bought a bunch for prototyping purposes and designed a breakout board because it's, like I said, these are little tiny things. They're dust, but I'll be testing that just around holiday.
Yeah. One of the kits we make, I decided to implement basically a discrete VCA with a very similar package. And it's one of the worst choices I've ever made because I have to solder every single one on. Oh. And then also put a blob of glue over it so when people see them, don't just scrub it off with their soldering iron. Because I think the first run of kits we did 100 of, I think about 10 people decided to attack this surface mount package with their soldering iron and just completely wrecked the PCB and the part.
Which are not cheap.
Oblivious to that.
Why would you do this?
Oblivious to that, then continued to build the kit. And I couldn't solder that part on because it was surrounded by parts. Yeah. That's just, it was not good fun.
Okay.
Yay, customers.
Point taken. I appreciate that. Appreciate the feedback. Yeah. Okay, yeah. No, you can't have one. I'm talking to you. Who cares?
What?
Yeah, what? Dude.
Why is everyone picking on me?
All right.
I'm getting relentlessly picked on today.
That wasn't aimed at Gareth, by the way.
It wasn't me.
Not directly.
Okay. Anyway, good enough.
Okay, dude.
I appreciate you guys staying up late, and the sun's coming up here. I'm going to finish this up and send you some video of SEEDS.
Nice. Cool. I'll send you some video of us mucking around.
That'll do.
Doing stuff.
I did enjoy it. All right. Thanks, folks. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.